We must ask this question before we become so tolerable to the homosexual practices as a people. We must ask this crucial question. If everyone on the planet was homosexuals, how could we have any children to continue the human species? That is the question we can't get around and that we have to deal with. Nature itself made us to procreate between man and woman. And the moment you go against nature, extinction is on the way. So if we accept this as natural, how do we deal with that question? How can we continue the species if everyone on the planet was homosexuals? We must ask that question. And now I know a lot of people are going to say, well, everybody's not homosexual. So then you mean that the responsibility of and the continuation of the human species is left in the hands of the heterosexual people? That's what you're saying when you say, hey, well, everybody's not homosexual, so that question is irrelevant. The question is very relevant, because to ignore the question or to say anything against the question is to say that, hey, we're leaving the continuation of the human species in the hands of heterosexuals, which gives us the power, which gives us the respect and the honor, because we're upholding the laws of nature, okay? Now, when we open the door for homosexuality as a normal thing, we also open the door for pedophilia. And in case you guys ain't know, there's a whole organization called NAMBLA, which means the North American Man and Boy Love Association. And they are a pedophile and pederasty advocacy organization in the United States. It works to abolish age consent laws, criminalizing adult sexual involvement with minors. So we have a big organization out there that's actually advocating to abolish age consent laws, and they want to do away with the criminalization of adult sexual involvement with minors, people. Now, I don't know about you, but that's very sick and disturbing to me. But if we open up the door for homosexuality, we also open up the door for pedophilia. Y'all got to understand the agenda that's on the table here, all right? So let's learn a little bit more about the NAMBLA, and I'm going to leave links in the description. Please look in the description. I got links to a bunch of information that you guys need to research, okay? Now, the NAMBLA Association have also been in campaigns to promote the release of men who have been jailed for sexual contacts with minors that did not involve coercion. So they're saying, listen, long as I don't penetrate, it's okay. We can fumble each other or do a little oral sex. So you got to understand the sickness of this organization, and visit the links in the descriptions to get more on this. Let's get some more information here. I want to say this for the record. No one is born a homosexual. That is the biggest lie that has been told to us as a people. And I'm going to show you how we get homosexuals today. It's through conditioning. It's through years of propaganda. It's through poisoning. Because if you guys haven't been doing any research, I have, and let me share something with you. A lot of the poisons in our foods promote homosexuality amongst our kids. Let me say that again. A lot of poisons that we all eat conditions us to be more susceptible to homosexuality. Now, our children are eating poisons given to us by our higher ups that are making them homosexuals. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but let me share this with you. There was a professor by the name of Tyrone Hayes who did an experiment with frogs. Now, one of the poisons we see in a lot of our water and in our food is a poison called astrine. And what he did was he took this astrine and he injected it into a few frogs. What he noticed is that the frogs became homosexual. You had male frogs humping on the other male frogs. And you also had male frogs that were beginning to develop female parts. So he noticed that this drug astrine that we've been consuming for years by the higher ups promotes homosexuality in our biology. And you guys really think it's by mistake? You think it's by coincidence? I just explained to you that we're living in a Greek society and that these type of practices are commonplace in early Greece.
Yes, now we turn to the story of a University of California scientist who discovered that a popular herbicide may have harmful effects on the endocrine system. Tyrone Hayes was first hired in 1997 by a company that later became agribusiness giant Syngenta. They asked him to study their product, atrazine, a pesticide that is applied to more than half the corn crops in the United States and widely used on golf courses and Christmas tree farms. But after Hayes found results that the manufacturer did not expect, that atrazine causes sexual abnormalities in frogs and could cause the same problems for humans, Syngenta refused to allow him to publish his work. This was the start of an epic feud between the scientist and the corporations.
Now, a lot of us today don't accept this type of behavior. So for them to make you accept it, they just poison you. They have the technology to make you more comfortable with homosexuality and also to transform your kids into homosexuality. I currently reside in the city of Las Vegas, and what's going on here now is they're about to pass a law to allow transgender restrooms. And the symbol for the transgender restroom is a half man, half woman. So we're used to seeing the female symbol for the female restrooms and also the male figure for the male restrooms. Well, the symbol for the transgender restroom will be half and half. Okay, so that's something to think about, people. This is just another step that they're taking to make this normalized in society, okay? When we look at shows like Big Frida, Queen of Bounce, we're looking at Hollywood pushing this agenda down our children's throat. They're also shoving it in the parents' faces and in the faces of us adults to make us accept it as norm, because we're most susceptible to accept things that's on that big square idiot box. Y'all know I'm not lying, okay? Most of us practice our fashion trends and everything based on Hollywood and what the TV is showing us. So if they can get this stuff in Hollywood and shove it in your face as something that's the new it thing with Caitlyn Jenner and all of this Big Frida, Queen of Bounce, and I Am Jazz, which is a very sad story. The parents of that young man should be placed in jail, if you ask me. That's just sad, okay? We have to stand up today. When did children know what was best for them? Children don't know what's best for them. They look to us parents to teach them what's best. So when you got a young child that's got homosexual tendencies and he's a young man and he wants to be a young girl, as a parent, you're supposed to teach him the proper way of nature, as opposed to saying, well, I'm gonna love him anyway, and whatever he decides to do, I support it. So we're looking at a society today where the children are parenting themselves and making their own decision, and then the parents follow suit. Okay, that's not the way it should go. We're supposed to teach these kids the right way, and we all know that homosexuality is not natural, no matter how much propaganda we want to feed ourselves to believe a lie. Okay, it goes back to the golden question that I asked. If everyone on the planet was homosexual, then we would face the extinction of the human species.
I haven't been a teenager for that long, and I'm experiencing new things every single day. I want people to support me just like any other girl.
You know, most of the people already know she's transgender, but in high school, they're gonna be gunning for her.
We should invite some boys.
Yeah. I don't know. Boys are always flirting with my friends. I'm just being ignored, and it hurts.
What is nature trying to tell us? Okay, think of a battery. What gives a battery power? You have a positive end and a negative end, okay? And those two works in unison to give your Duracell or your Energizer battery power. If you had a battery and it had two positive ends, it would not work, okay? It will not give you no power. If you had a battery that had two male ends, it will not give you any power. So what is nature showing us, y'all? It's showing us that the proper way to produce and procreate is with the male coming together with the female. The moment you try to breed a society where it's full of homosexuality, the only way we can procreate is in a science lab. And we all know that nothing in a laboratory is natural. Nothing that happens in a scientist's lab is the natural flow of nature. So people, I have a lot of information in the description box down there. You need to get in there and visit all of those links before you make any comments so you can look at the research that I looked at to get these conclusions. Consider that first, and maybe you can correct me if I read any of it wrong, okay? But this is some stuff we really need to address prevalence in our society today, people, because judgment is upon us all, not just the people practicing these unnatural practices, but also us who stand by and allow it and are being conditioned to accept it as normal. Blood is on your hands also. And for you parents who have homosexual children, blood is definitely on your hands. You have to be a parent, okay, and correct the wrongs in your children. Don't support the wrongs. And anybody that's saying I'm wrong, then this video is not for you because you're too far lost to comprehend what's natural and what's of nature, okay? And I'm just telling you the traditional way, all right? One thing that every homosexual cannot deny is the fact that they were brought here by a mom and a dad. When you look at Big Frida, you're looking at a homosexual man who has a mother and a father. When you look at I Am Jazz, the 13-year-old transgender, that's a sad story. When you look at this young man has a mother and a father. So all of these people who we see that's homosexuals, one thing they have in common is the fact that they have a mother and a father. And that's how they got here. They will never have children. And that's the whole key to life, is to be fruitful, people, and continue the species of the human family. So we have to love ourselves enough to be truthful and deal with these serious issues. I know they're touchy, I know they're sensitive, but one thing I want to say before I get out of here, guys, is that to all of you homosexuals listening to me right now, Brother Sanchez love you, all right? Brother Sanchez truly love you, and I have nothing against you other than what you have against yourself. It's the fact that most of you are in denial that this is indeed unnatural, all right? Now, there's a lot of homosexuals out there that'll tell you, I know it's wrong, but this is who I am, and I've had trouble changing it, so hey, you know, I'm just gonna be this way. The same thing with a smoker who can't get off cigarettes. They know it's wrong, but at least these guys admit that it's wrong. The problem we face in society today is starting to accept it as truth and as normal, and in doing that, that's the biggest blasphemy of nature. Okay, so before I get out of here, let me reiterate that I'm only here to tell the truth. And if you're a homosexual, I don't hate you, okay? I love you, and I'm not homophobic either, all right? I'm not scared of nothing. That's a big phrase we see today with people who speak out with the truth. They say homophobic, all right? All of this terminology that they use is just to help push this agenda, all right? So one thing we have to realize, guys, is that we're not judging you, okay? Realize that Brother Sanchez ain't judging you. He's simply telling you the truth. All right, I'm telling you the truth. Now, what I really want y'all to do is get down into the description of this video and visit those links and free your mind. There's some important stuff in those links now. Don't miss it. Everyone under the sound of my voice right now, Brother Sanchez loves you. All right, peace.
Explain to them what RuPaul's Drag Race is.
It's a competition reality show where we have drag queens from around the United States come in and compete for $100,000. Yes. And, you know, we put the kids through these challenges. You know, each week we have to let a girl go.
Yes.
But that's life, isn't it?
That is life.
Well, that is the creed of drag because...
Can you say it for me one time, not to cut you off?
What, the, you're
if
born
you were
naked?
sending someone away,
Oh,
what would you
okay,
say?
right. I see. Now, what's your name?
Cleo.
Cleo. Now, Cleo, I love you, darling, and you will always be in our hearts, but time to sashay away.
Miley Cyrus recently told Rolling Stone magazine that she will never twerk again.
Oh, really?
Yes.
She have to come get a twerk lesson from Big Frida. She have to twerk again.
So she can do it right.
Yeah, so she can do it properly.
There it is.